Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 117.
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
But the trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm that the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Hey Who fans, welcome back to the Big Blue Box podcast. And we've got another raft of new listeners again.
Oh, right. Hello, new listeners.
Which is good stuff. Waving to you from behind the mic.
Yeah. Hello there. Hello there.
Old timers, welcome back. Grizzled ancients. Hope you've had a fantastic week and that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related other than watch Class. Hope you've delved deep into the DVD collection or the Blu-ray collection or both or the BBC store.
Oh,
who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Talking of the BBC store, I had a bit of an ish.
Oh,
yeah. I wanted to go on because I finally crumbled. I thought, right, I've got to watch The Power of the Daleks. So I thought, I've got a BBC Store account. Be easy. Jump on there. Bish, bash, bosh. There you go. But no, for some reason, my account had been locked out.
Yes.
And I don't know why. I've no idea why. So I've raised a support ticket, whatever you want to call it. Because I don't want to, because I've had it in the past where you've tried to log into certain things and you're tempted to just create a new account.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? To try and get in and do something. But I thought, no, because I've got like 7 or 8, Doctor Who purchases through the store already. So if I create a new account, they'll be lost. Ipso facto, I need to get this one sorted out. But yeah, that's a real bummer.
So have you not been able to get back in?
No.
Still?
No, because normally they've got the have you forgotten your password? So they'll send you a link to reset your password. So it must be something wrong with my username or my email address or something.
No, mate, it's not. It's not just you. Because I had the same issue.
Ah, right.
And I got really cross with them. I contacted them, and basically just said, yeah, it's our server. Hopefully it'll be back up later on.
Oh.
And I was like, excuse me. I was like, so yeah, but I've downloaded the stuff that I've bought, that I've paid hard money for. Do I have to be able to sign into your account to watch it? Surely if I've downloaded it to my computer, that means I should be able to watch it when and wherever because I've paid money for it. And they're like, no, you have to sign in first or you can't watch it. So I'm like, so your site that constantly crashes, like now, you're saying that even though I've paid money for stuff, I can't watch it because your store's down, even though I've downloaded it to my device. That just doesn't make sense. So I've purchased Power of the Daleks from the BBC Store, and I can't help but think it was my first and last purchase because what a load of rubbish! What's the point of it? What's the point of buying something if you can only watch it when their blimmin' store's up and running online? Like, what's the point of that? What's the point of being able to download it to your device? Do you know what I mean?
There's a few bloomings coming out, and I sense that you want to use stronger words.
Yes, exactly, mate. Yeah.
Yes. But you can't.
But I can't. No, I'm being. Yeah. I'll restrain because we are a family podcast. But just to let you know, it's not just you because I'll tell you, mate. Good old Twitter. as soon as I messaged him on Twitter, I had a few of my followers messaged and said, "Oh, it's not just you. We've got the same issue." And then BBC Store finally replied and told me that. So that kind of put my mind at rest because just like you, I was thinking, must be my account. I must have put my password in wrong a couple of times. Perhaps I ought to, try another one or create a new one and stuff. So, yeah. So try it again. The thing I didn't like was they were like, well, hopefully it'll be back up later on. And I was like, hopefully? you've taken my money. I want to be able to watch what I bought. Like, why do you have to be able to sign in? Like, what if you download it? That's about can't get. If you download it to your device, why can't you watch it? Like, if you download something from iTunes, it doesn't matter if their site's up and running. I can watch it on my computer, but you can't do that with BBC Store. It seems. I don't get it. I just think what a load of rubbish. I won't be using it.
It's a limitation, obviously.
So have you still not got to watch it?
No, well, I haven't tried this morning. This was yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen any of it yet?
No, I was going to watch it yesterday. I thought perfect opportunity. I had a couple of hours spare.
Yeah.
Yesterday evening, so I thought, because I was going to wait until the Blu-ray. Like I said on last week's show, I'm just going to save it up and just wait for the Blue in February. But that is is it February or January? It's February, isn't it?
February, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I crumbled. There's just so many good things being said on Twitter, and I've seen a few more clips and so on. I thought, sod it. I'll just get it on the BBC Store. But alas, I was thwarted.
So you haven't they haven't taken your money yet?
They've taken the money.
Oh, they've taken the money, but you can't.
Oh no, sorry, no, I can't log in to buy it. Sorry.
Oh, I see.
But they've actually taken your money though.
They've taken my money, and I have managed to watch it all now. Yeah, I mean, it came back online within a couple of hours. So I managed to watch it that night. But to be honest with you, I only bought it from BBC Store because I wanted the free postcards that the first 1,000 customers got. But as it turns out, I wasn't one of the first 1,000, so I didn't get them anyway.
Oh, no.
So that also peed me off. But I don't know. I've been trying to sort of find out where, when you download it, I was going through all my laptop, all my files, like trying to find out where it actually downloads it on your computer, because it must be there somewhere for me to be able to watch. But I don't know. I couldn't find the files. I just think it's a strange, bizarre way of doing things. I just can't get my head around it. So
it's a mystery, which is why I still prefer good old physical discs.
Well, exactly. You don't have that problem with a good old physical disc. Yeah. But I have managed to watch all 6 episodes now, and you're in for a treat. It's really good, especially the last episode. I was just sat there. I mean, I loved it, and I was just sat there the whole time thinking, I'd love to be able to see the actual thing, because you've got Daleks exploding and heads popping off on the Daleks. I mean, and it just looks so amazing that I just can imagine that the actual footage of it would be incredible to watch. But this is the next best thing, and it is great, I have to say. Really, really good. But I won't say any more because you haven't seen it, so I don't want to ruin it for you.
Yes, I will try and log in later this afternoon and see if it's fixed.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to keep going on about BBC Store, but this is the thing. Their site seems to be constantly down. That's, if I'm sounding a little bit annoyed about it, that's why. Because I don't understand how they can take money off people if they can't get to the things they've actually purchased. The site always seems to be crashing. So they need to get it sorted, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe because the amount of people has grown a lot. I mean, I remember when the BBC Store first launched, and I created an account with them straight away. And I purchased a couple of classics. I think I purchased Pyramids of Mars and Caves of Androzani, and that all went swimmingly.
Yeah.
No problems. But maybe with the, now they've got like an extra couple of million users. Their servers are a little bit, where all these people come from?
Hopefully it'll get better, because they have got a few little exclusives. Like they've just uploaded some episodes of The Adventure Game, which, as far as I know, has never come out on DVD. Do you not remember that?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, it was just something I grew up with as a kid. I'm trying to think if it was 70s or 80s. I'm not sure now. But it's, it was just a really silly, low budget BBC kids program where they sort of walked across this board game and tried not to get zapped, and there was like a talking plant, and it was just bizarre. It was just really bizarre. But it used to have sort of like celebrities at the time on there, so I think like the cast of Doctor Who were probably on it, and Blake Seven and stuff. I can't really remember, but it was something I used to love. And I saw that popped up on BBC Store, so I was tempted to get it, but I'm afraid I won't be spending my money on there at the minute unless it drastically improves.
A low budget BBC program
from the 80s.
You do surprise me that you like that.
Yeah, you got to see it. Just put The Adventure Game into YouTube. You'll just be like, what the?
That sounds like an earlier version of a program that I watched when I was a lad called Nightmare.
Oh, Nightmare in Space, I suppose.
Okay, right. What a show Nightmare was.
Yeah, Nightmare was brilliant.
Blimey.
That big bearded guy.
The dungeon guy, whatever his name was, or the quest keeper, whatever his name was. What a guy.
There'll be a demographic of our listeners that know exactly what we're talking about, and then there'll be a load of listeners going, "What on earth are they on about?"
Yeah. So, Nightmare was a program where there was basically it was 3 kids out of sort of lower high school, and 3 of them sat in front of a huge treasure chest, which essentially was just the monitor. And one of the kids, the 4th kid, had a sort of helmet on. If you've ever seen the video game Skyrim, the main character, that sort of helmet, he had that on, and he stepped into a room. But for him, it was just a bunch of blue screen back in the day. But for the kids watching it on the monitor, he was in like a room, and it was so good. Even talking about it, it's just amazing.
I know, it was.
He was like, the kid walked into the room, and he's like, "Where am I?" And they were like, "Right, you're in a room, and there's a table. So take 10 steps forward." And he steps forward, and they're like, "Right, on the table, there's an apple, a dagger, and a map. So put them in your bag," and say, "Oh my God," just talking about it is just amazing. So
I wonder if that's out there somewhere, because a lot of these things did get, I mean, I thought the adventure game had got wiped. I've just Googled it. It is the 80s. Thank goodness for that. I thought I was older than I am. But yeah, a lot of these things did get, like they were seen as worthless after they aired, weren't they? So they got junked or, put away. So I hope Nightmare is still out there somewhere.
A bit like Doctor Who.
A bit like Doctor Who,
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Because we'll come on to it in a second, but I've never seen the special features on the Greatest Show in the Galaxy DVD.
Oh, they're really good.
So, I watched them last night.
Yeah.
And there's a really interesting little bit on there called Tomorrow's Times, where Annika Wills is reading all the newspaper reviews and articles from all the, the big newspapers at the time. And they really gave the show a slating, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the McCoy era. And it's basically that kind of mindset. It was like, this is a worthless show. Hardly any viewers. Rubbish reviews. Let's can it.
Yeah.
And now look.
Yeah, hindsight is a wonderful thing,
it's beautiful.
BBC.
Yeah.
But I have to say I'm glad to see Power doing so well, because that hopefully does mean we'll have some more on the way, because it'd be lovely to fill in those gaps of missing stories, wouldn't it? So... Yeah, it's good to see it doing so well.
Absolutely, mate. You been up to anything else apart from binge watching The Power of the Daleks?
Well, I had a good weekend. I went to the Noel Clarke signing at Forbidden Planet, so I met Mickey.
Yeah.
He was a really nice guy, actually. I had a really good little chat with him and got his comic book, The Troop, signed, so that was good. Got a cool photo with him. And then I headed off to Westminster to a film fair to meet Bernard Cribbins. We were a bit worried when we got there because he hadn't showed up, and we were like, oh no, because he was the one I really wanted to meet. But he did turn up almost about 10 minutes after we arrived, and there was a really massive long queue for Bernard. So I got to meet him. It was very brief. He was very, very nice. Got a picture with him and stuff. I said to Ads, because I was with Adam the Ultimate Whovian, I noticed that every time someone was taking pictures of him, he likes to be very animated, so he doesn't just sort of pose. He was sort of pulling lots of faces and moving around, which is a nightmare with the iPhone camera, because you just get about 10 blurred photos of someone moving. So I was like, I just literally just keep pressing take, just keep taking it, and I'll just have to hope that one of them's good. So I managed to get a fairly decent one with him, but he's quite a funny guy, he's just like, hello there, what's going on, whoop, doing all lots of moves, and I was just like, please stay still just for one picture. But that was really cool. There was a strange thing happened while I was in the queue for Bernard though, and once again I will have to moderate my language, because what's the name of it? Miriam Margolyes, is it? Who's the woman at Harry Potter?
Miriam Margolyes, yeah.
Margolyes. She also went on that exotic hotel thing with Sylvester McCoy, didn't she? Her table was right next to me while I was queuing for Bernard, and there was nobody waiting to meet her. And so I just sort of happened to clock that she was, sat at a table next to me. And there was this girl who went up to get her autograph, and she said, "Are you going to buy something?" Obviously, I'm sort of listening in, and she said, "Yeah." She goes, "Good, because it's your last effing chance." And the girl's like, "Oh, right.
Really?
Okay. Is it all right to say on the podcast?" So, yeah, it's not too strong, is it?
No.
But it gets worse. And obviously, I'm not going to use the word. So anyway, I'm in the queue, And I'm trying to vlog the day. Now, last time I was at this film fair in Westminster, I vlogged the day, no problem. I filmed loads. I hadn't been in the door 2 minutes before someone told me off for having my camera out.
Oh God!
And I was like, so they've all clamped down. It's like, no, you've got to pay if you want to take a photo of someone. I was like, no, I'm not actually taking a photo, but anyway, whatever. So yeah, I didn't manage to get much at all. So I'm stood next to Miriam Margolyes in the queue for Bernard Cribbins. I decide I'm going to just do a little panning shot of the hall while I'm in the queue for the vlog. Mm-hmm. And I thought I'll just get her in it as I pan round. Anyway, she clocks me, thinks I'm taking a photograph, and she goes, "Oi, did you just take a photograph, you cheeky C word?"
No.
Really loudly. And I was absolutely floored. I was like, well, I didn't actually know. But and I just didn't know what to say. And all the guys I was with all cracked up laughing and stuff. Now, although I found it funny, I also didn't think it was very appropriate, considering the guys in front of me, they had their kids with them and stuff. And I just was, as I said, a bit like I am now, speechless. I was like, there are kids in the room. You don't use that sort of language. So, yeah, I was a little bit shocked. And to be honest with you, I half thought about getting an autograph while I was waiting in the queue, because I could have literally just got it there and then. But I decided I wasn't going to give her 25 quid after she called me that. So I just sort of shuffled off and met Bernard. And then we left. So it was quite an eventful little weekend, really. But yeah, I'm still a little bit shocked. She's bonkers, though, mate. She's completely bonkers.
That makes the Who Shop's policy on photos seem very tame.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
No, it was shocking.
Crikey.
Yeah. Everyone else found it hilarious. I mean, I did. I don't know. I'm always aware. Maybe I'm old fashioned, because kids nowadays probably swear more than me. And I do swear. I mean, before we record, I swear like a trooper, but I'm always aware of it when when there are kids in the room and stuff. And I was just thinking, I can't believe she's just said that in front of this queue of people. Like, some of them pretty young and stuff. So yeah, shocking. But apparently she has got a bit of a reputation for being a bit like that. So,
wow.
So I didn't get her autograph, but if I was thinking about it, she kind of, she lost me at that point. I thought, no, I think I'll save it for this weekend event in Slough, so I didn't get it. But I did get Bernard, and he was very nice. So
good,
yeah, so that was a good weekend. And I know you've been to see a Doctor Who celeb last week.
Alumni, yes. I went to see Donna Noble.
Yeah, am I bothered?
I went to see the Catherine Tate show.
Was it good?
Oh, it was so funny.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Actually,
yeah. Honestly, she is. If you've ever seen the Catherine Tate show on TV, the show was basically that, just live. So just a bunch of different little sketches, and they very quickly had like these couple of big screens behind her, and that was like the background of the set. And then he brought in like some extra stuff, like a couple of desks when she's doing her office scene, like Have a Guess, that character, and and it was just so well done. And she's really good live as well. Yeah. She's amazing live.
I'd like to go and see her. I've seen a few of my friends on Facebook that have gone to see her at different venues and stuff. Which one did you go to? Was it Hammersmith?
Yeah, the Apollo.
Yeah, the Apollo. Yeah. But I can imagine she'd be good. You didn't wait around the stage door to meet her after then?
Oh, well, I thought about it. As we walked out, we had a walk around, and I looked down. As we was walking to the station, it's down like the left-hand side. There were just so many people there.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And the Apollo's a big, well, actually not. It's not one of the biggest, but it sells out almost immediately anything that's on at the Apollo. So there was so many people there. I was like, no, I'm not waiting there for ages. And there literally was loads of. You could see the crowd.
Yeah,
sort of building up around there. So I was like, nah, I'll give it a miss this time. But no, it was great to see old Chiswick's finest doing some comedy. Yeah, it was really good.
She is one of my favourite companions from the new series, actually. I mean, I do love Donna and Catherine Tate, obviously. So, yeah.
Potentially one of the biggest turnarounds in Doctor Who casting.
Absolutely.
Everyone went nuts about her being cast in the show, didn't they? Like, literally, it must have been sort of 85% of people said it was ridiculous and rubbish and it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, I was one of them. I thought it was going to be a disaster, I'll be honest with you. I remember when it was announced, I was like, no, seriously? That's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love Donna Noble. I think she's the best, actually.
Yeah, now she's loved. I remember a couple of times, you've probably heard it as well, at the Proms concert. They play this bit of music. I think it's called the Companion Suite, where they go through and they play all the themes from the popular companions. And every time Donna's theme comes on, the place just erupts.
It does
with cheer, and I quite like that aspect, actually. I think she's, and I bet that she's loving that fact as well. That when she saw the reaction when she first got cast, of how disappointed and everybody was, but now she's thinking, I told you, I told you. So that's cool, and it was really good.
Excellent, mate.
Really, really good. I haven't been up to much else, really. I have watched a bit of Who. Like I said, I watched the Greatest Show in the Galaxy DVD special features because I hadn't seen those before. And that was very interesting, that one.
I just can't stop thinking about the poor guy getting his head trapped in the door shutting. His teeth clunked together.
Ian somebody.
In the outtakes, this is, isn't it? They just show the bit where the door was released too soon and drops on his head.
Yeah.
It's really painful to watch.
Yeah. And you can tell as well that he's in pain because his reaction is just to be stunned.
Yeah.
And he sort of turns around, and I think the camera cuts them, but I think he said that after that he sort of fell to the ground and was out of it.
I'm not surprised.
It's funny and horrific at the same time.
Yeah.
Is the best way to describe it. But that's a really good bunch of features on that disc. Surprisingly, not much from Sylve, though, in the making of. He's not in it, is he?
He's probably filming The Hobbit when they did that one.
Yeah. But no, that was good. I watched the TV movie again on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just to see if I can get anything out of it in terms of why did I buy the Blu-ray, over the DVD. And the only plus is the audio mix, really.
Yeah.
If you've got a surround amp and you can shove it through there, it's a good listen. And the soundtrack, wow, we love the soundtrack, don't we?
It's beautiful.
To the movie,
yeah. Love the movie soundtrack.
Yeah. So stuck that on, and that's been my week of Who, really. Oh, I found
that's not bad, actually.
I found my TARDIS mints.
TARDIS mints? Oh, not those things.
My TARDIS mints that I bought from the Who shop the last time I was there.
Oh.
And I've been going through them. They're so shut up. Look, even the mints themselves. Hold on. Just
while Gary's enjoying a mint, I'll tell you the reason I don't like him. It's because when I bought the Zavi, the TARDIS shaped mints.
Even the mints are like little TARDIS shapes.
Yeah, I have nothing against the mints themselves. It's just that I paid a fortune for that blimmin' Zavi Doctor Who box, and it had a pack of them in it, and I was just like, they're not exactly exclusive, are they? I mean, there's about 1,000 of them when you walk in the door in Forbidden Planet, so yeah, that's what I've got against those mints.
I really like my little TARDIS tin that they came in.
They are nice. I think under any other circumstance, I'd probably like them, but they bring back horrid Zavid memories.
I'm trying to think what I'm going to put in this now.
The TARDIS?
Maybe
you're not going to get many coins in there, are you?
Maybe I can put away those awful badges that somebody gave me. I think, what is it called? Geek's handbag or something.
Oh.
Little pin badges look awful. I can go in there.
That's not nice.
Not very nice, is it?
No.
I jest, of course. I love my Geek's handbag badge.
They took me hours to make them blooming badges.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we move on and do some news?
Yeah.
Let's land it. And do some news. Very sorry. I'm acutely aware that you guys can probably now just hear me chomping on one of these mints. So I'm very sorry. First up in the news, something that we saw a couple of weeks ago, but we, for reasons that can't be explained, we just didn't include it in the show that week. But there's been a funding project set up by David J. Howe to essentially get his huge collection of Doctor Who merchandise sort of put on display, his own sort of little museum. which will be imaginatively titled the Doctor Who Merchandise Museum. So this guy, David Howe, you've probably heard of him. He's been collecting everything, basically, since the early 70s, mid-70s, I think.
Yeah.
And it goes literally all through. So costumes, props, figures, magazines, everything. He kind of puts our collections to shame, really. Because you and I, especially you, mate, you've got a cracking collection. I mean, it's like taking over your house.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I thought that's what happened with this guy when the story first surfaced. I thought it was that it basically outgrown his house, which is something we can both relate to. And I thought that's why he decided to make this museum, which sounds like quite a good idea, really, because, like, you know, get it all in one place on display. Yeah, obviously behind cabinets so no one can touch it.
Of course, don't want any fingerprints or any accidents.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, it's he's hoping to open it in summer of 2018. So it's a year and a half at least away to get it all sorted out. But he has put a funding project up on Indiegogo, and he wants to raise roughly £30,000.
God, that's a lot of dough
to get it done. And currently, just over, as we're recording this now on the 16th of November, about 80 people have backed, and he's raised just over £3,000. So he's off to a good enough start. There's 2 months left.
All right.
So
that's a lot of money to raise, isn't it? God, I didn't realise it was that much.
It is a lot of money. So, and there's lots of different, as they, you know, this is a typical thing with crowdfunding. It's very similar to Kickstarter, where they've got different tiers that you can invest and you can pledge anything from just £1. And if you pledge £1, that will get you a shout out on the Facebook page and Twitter from David, going all the way up to 500 quid. And 500 quid gets you lunch with Fraser Hines.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Or 400 quid gets you friends and family open day all to yourself. Things like that. 40 quid, you get a free visit once a year for 5 years. And all that. So there's plenty of different tiers if you do want to back it. It sounds quite interesting. It's worth jumping onto. We'll put a link in the show notes as usual. You just head over to the Indiegogo page, and he's got a summary of, you know, why he's doing it and all the details and stuff like that. So if that sounds like your cup of tea and you'd like to visit, then give it a back. Give it a back.
I'd certainly like to see his collection. I mean, you know, you can imagine he's got some really rare stuff in there. I mean, he's holding up the sort of diamond logo .2 sign in the photo, which looks gorgeous. I don't know where he's got that from. Yeah, it would be cool, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. Right. So that's it for the news, isn't it? We haven't got any other news.
No. It's, well, until Who returns to our screens, it's just mainly sort of class focused, really, and all that is just a bunch of pics.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you look on the .2 News site, the only other thing is about 1 billion pictures from episode 6 of Class. So if you're interested in that, go and have a look on the .2 News page. Yeah,
right. Should we welcome the Daleks back?
Yes, get them in.
Because they have got a couple of bits, haven't they?
Got a couple of bit merch.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Do you like Douglas Adams?
I do.
His book, his Doctor Who book, The Pirate
Oh, I
Planet.
thought you were going to say something else. Like, do you like Doctor Who? Yes. Do you like Douglas Adams? Yes. Well, you're going to love.
Well, you're in luck. Because his book from 1978, The Pirate Planet, is to be published.
Yeah.
In January, based on the original script written by James Goss, who also adapted City of Death.
He did a good job on that, because it was supposed to be Gareth Roberts, wasn't it? It sort of dropped out halfway through. So James Goss took over, and he did a very good job on City of Death. So hopefully he'll be good on this one.
Yes, indeed. And there's also an audiobook released at the same time, narrated by John Culshaw. So I'm not sure he's going to do any voices for us or not.
He will do, because you know, he was at the Polarity Day thing I went to the other week.
Yes.
And I had a little chat with him, and it was like he he sort of reminded me of an uncle that, you know, when you have an uncle that just can't have a conversation without every other line being a joke. Well, with John, it was like he just kept doing lots of different impressions. It was really bizarre. Like, he didn't seem to be able to talk to me without breaking into somebody else. So, yeah, I'm sure we will get a few impressions from him.
I hope so. It would make
but
it.
But he does Tom Baker, doesn't he? He does a good Tom Baker.
Very good, Tom Baker. Yeah. And this is a Tom Baker story. So it's based on a draft that Douglas Adams did many years ago. That's been sort of locked away, and it's quite different from the TV script and so on. So it'll be an interesting read. I think I love Douglas Adams, and you know, all the Hitchhiker stuff and the work he's done on Who is really good. So I would say this would be a pickup for me.
Yeah, I'd definitely get it. I've got the other two. I've got Sharda and I've got City of Death, so this will be a nice one. I don't like the cover very much, to be honest with you. It's a bit plain, but I suppose it fits in with the sort of Douglas Adams style with the writing and everything. But yeah, I was hoping that was like a prototype cover when I first saw it. But yeah, I'll definitely be getting it, mate. Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yes.
I'm not a massive fan of this story. That's why I'm quite pleased to hear you say it's different from the TV one, because yeah, I'm not overly fond of the Pirate Parrot. It's got its moments, but yeah, I think it might be better as a book. So
yeah, and it was originally popped up last week, I think, for 17 quid, but it's on Amazon for £12.
Oh, right,
at the moment, so that's not too bad. And if you want the audio book, that is 20 quid.
Oh,
so
bad.
Take your pick there.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right. In other news, Warlord Games, they're doing this thing called the Time Vortex game, which I think is coming out. When does the actual game come out? Because at the minute, they're just releasing figures for it.
Yeah, there's no date on the game, but we can assume it's probably next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, they've released a couple of figures. And we've just got news of the latest product from them, which is going to be the Daleks and the Cybermen. Basically, what they are, they do like little pewter and plastic figures that are moulded that obviously fit in the game. They remind me of what were we talking about earlier? Is it Warcraft?
The Warcraft, yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of along those sort of lines, if you like. Have to say, considering how big are these things, they're not very big, are they?
Only about 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
Tall, if that, yeah.
If that. They look really quite well detailed considering the size of them. Yeah, they've just released pictures of the Daleks and Cybermen that are going to be available for this game. It's the new series, Daleks and Cybermen, obviously, so depends if you like them or not. But yeah, they look pretty decent, actually. I mean, I know some people absolutely love these sort of games. I never quite understand them, but I like the look of them.
We just got to read the frickin' rules.
Yeah.
Christ.
What are the rules?
Almighty. Well, you know, these games, they come with, you know, a little rule book telling you the rules and the objective of the game. You just got to read it, mate.
Are you interested in that?
It's not difficult to understand, Jesus.
Yeah. No, it's not for me, that one.
Anyways, yes. So you guys might have seen these before. It's where you get like a sort of a pre-molded sort of grid, if you like. About the size of a dinner plate, I suppose. Yeah. And then you snap the little figures out. They normally come in halves, and then you snap them together. But one thing that is quite cool about these ones is that you can order from the company directly. I think they're called Warlord Games. Yeah, you can order little paints and glues.
All right.
Specifically to do it. And they've already got a set out already, haven't they? They've got the Doctor and Companions. And we were saying earlier that the 12th Doctor one looks really good.
Yeah, I like the look of the 12th Doctor figure.
And there's Monsters and Villains, which has got Ice Warriors, Zygons, Weeping Angels, Jadoon, all that stuff. But the little paints and stuff, if you go on a website, again, we'll put a link to it. Obviously, these have been painted by a pro. I cannot comment on how mine would look, you know, if I had a crack at this, but they do look really, I mean, for very small figures, you would expect, and in the past, I've had a couple of these little figures for something else before, donkeys years ago, and they always look really bad quality when you snap them out of the thing and then you can construct them. But these actually look, like you were saying, mate, these actually look really good. Quite
they
detailed,
do. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I know what you mean about the painting. I think considering the size of them, I'd dread painting these. But yeah, if you've got a steady hand, you'll be all right.
Yes, that's one thing. You need a steady hand.
Yeah, you do.
Indeed. That's going to do for news and match.
That's it. Yeah, for this week.
Yes. We should talk about Class.
Episode 5, isn't it?
Bravish Heart.
I can get you back!
April, no!
Ron! Dad? Okay. I'm going in after it.
Are you? Right! I'm going after our daughter!
Come on then!
So this is a continuation. This is the concluding episode to last week's Co-Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Yeah.
Where the story focuses around April and sharing her heart with the Shadowkin King. And last week, there was the whole thing, wasn't there, about it was sort of controlling her a little bit, and her anger was coming out.
Yeah.
And, so her dad had turned up, and she was, she almost killed him. And we had the whole thing with this new teacher at the school, the new headmaster, trying to encourage Miss Quill to persuade Charlie to use the cabinet because the petals were taking over.
Yes, the killer petals.
Yes, and at the end of that episode, we saw April slice a hole in time and space. Her and Ram jumped through. She's off to face off against the Shadow King. There we go. So we pick up on this this episode.
Yeah,
and I don't know which one's worse. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if this one or last week's one. I just don't know. I think this one's worse for me for a few reasons. The main thing for me is I find it completely and utterly just ridiculous that a high school, and I use that term very loosely, quote unquote, a high school girl is able to defeat the Shadow King in battle. Because the heaviest thing she's ever picked up in her life, by the look of it, is a violin. Yet she's wielding these two huge swords and is able to take down a guy that's conquered worlds before. So that
maybe if he hadn't just sat there waiting for her to kill him, he might have had a chance. Because I was just like thinking, you're just gonna give up? You're just gonna let her kill you? You just gonna sit there or what?
Precisely, yeah. So that done it for me, mate. At that point on, which I think was about halfway through the episode or 2/3 of the way through, I was done, mate. I can't even tell you what happened after that because I was.
About a whole of 2 people got killed by the killer petals. That happened. I'm with you, mate. I didn't enjoy last week's very much at all. I think you enjoyed it slightly more.
I did,
than me,
yes.
But I didn't really think much to last week's. And I agree with you. I didn't think much to this week's either as a concluding part. I found it slightly more watchable because I think there was stuff going on the planet, the Shadow King planet, so I found that a bit more interesting. But overall, I was bored, and I thought the dialogue once again was just atrocious. I think last week you said that April, you thought her acting was okay, and I wasn't too sure. But I think this week she was all right because she had quite a lot of action scenes to do. But I was just I couldn't work out what was going on with the petals either. We sort of had these 2 conflicting stories that in a way linked up at the end, which I suppose we knew they would, but it seemed very jarring to keep flicking between this killer petal storyline and the Shadow King one. I must admit, I'm probably at the same point that you got to where you were looking at Twitter. Was probably the point where I've written on my pad in great big letters, because out of boredom I just wrote "Get on with it" in great big capitals, because I was just so bored. I was like, just get on with it, kill him, do what you're going to do. Because when the dads jumped through and started having their big heart to heart on the other side of the world while she was about to kill the leader and whatever, I was just like, oh, this is just getting ridiculous now. This really is just a load of nonsense. So yeah, I didn't think much of this week's at all. I think I just found it a slightly better watch than last week, but not by much.
Yeah, I read you. Some good points for me would be, again, visually, it looks very nice.
Yes, it did. Yeah,
the effects were great. We didn't hear too much from the Polish lad this week, which was good.
Oh, did you think, because we've got money, that he's going to get it? Did you think, because there was a bit where the new teacher or whatever was going to shoot him, and I thought, oh, is he going out of it already?
Are they going to? Yeah, he's going to pop.
I bet you were laughing at that scene, weren't you?
I was cracking up. Yeah, and then he belts her over the head with something. And then she's out of it conveniently for the exact amount of time it takes them to,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't... apologies, to our listeners who really like Class and who are really into it and are getting something out of it. Our critique and our negative feelings is... It's kind of meant with... It's meant with affection and love, really, because I don't know about you, mate, but there's buckets of potential with Class.
Yeah. I agree.
It just seems like it's really not being realised early on. And, how many episodes are we in now? 5? Is this episode 5?
Yeah, so we've only got 3 left.
You would think that over, just over halfway through the first series, that, it would be picking up now and we would be getting into some really good, storyline and so on. But it just seems to waver, and I've said this before, like every episode for me, the first 10 minutes are great. And you think to yourself, it's going to be good. But then it just doesn't, it just stays. It's almost like having a really, really great sports car, like a Ferrari or a Porsche or something that's got 6-7 gears and you're constantly driving around in third gear.
Yeah.
The passenger next to you was thinking, for God's sake, will you go up a gear? Driving around in third gear is driving me mad. It feels like that. It feels like you're sitting in a sports car with amazing potential, but you're driving around at 20 miles an hour in third gear. And I can't shake that feeling after the first 10 minutes of each story. And now the dialogue is really starting to grind on me a bit.
I thought it was bad last week, but I actually think the dialogue was even worse this week. I mean, it really was bad. Yeah,
it was bad. And also the petal thing, I still can't...
What the hell?
It was a bit like the episode where, Night Visiting, where we had like a billion vines coming through the crack across all of Greater London. Yet we only see, 3 people in the street?
2, actually. I wrote it down, 2 people died of the... but they were like rolling in the floor in it. I mean, some people were just getting one on their face and going, ouch, oh, I better not touch them again. And other people were rolling in the floor covered in them. And it was just like, what?
Well, that's it. There was only 2, because the way that I've forgotten her blooming name already, the new headmaster.
Oh, I don't know her name either, no.
Her sort of motivation for pulling the gun on, is it Charlie?
Charlie, yeah.
And Matthias?
Yeah, Matthias, whatever his name, yeah.
Her motivation for them, using the cabinet as a weapon to destroy these petals was because the threat was so great and that they were going to overpower the planet within a matter of hours. That was her whole thing for getting this done. But yet it wasn't that bad because we only saw 2 people with a few petals on them.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't that bad. But yet you have this woman in the office going mad saying, we're going to be overcome in like a matter of hours. Yet all we saw was, like a few petals floating around. So it's not, I can absolutely see Patrick Nurse and the other people in an office before filming began with the scripts and the stories, and they're all sitting around the table going, these are amazing stories. You know, it's really good. I can really picture it in my head what's going on. But then the end result is not matching up to that early, wow, this is going to be great.
Yeah, yeah.
It's such a shame. And then we got Ram again with his ridiculous dad.
Oh, no, I know. The bit at the end with the dads.
What was that about with the dads?
Oh, I know. I think, like you, I'd reached for the phone at that point. I was watching it with my partner, actually, and we were both sat there laughing at bits that were supposed to be serious. Because it was just so ridiculous. I mean, we were both looking at each other going, what on earth is going on? You know, this is just rubbish, isn't it? We both were really unimpressed with it.
Yeah.
To be fair. And also, one thing I did write on my pad is that it doesn't, because you said this, I think, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. You said, it doesn't really feel like a Doctor Who spin-off, which up until that point, I thought, well, give it a chance. It might. This week, I do agree with that. It does not feel like it fits in with the Doctor Who universe to me. It just doesn't. I don't know why. It doesn't have that. Like Torchwood and Sarah Jane just seem to flow nicely alongside Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because Doctor Who's not on or whatever, but it just doesn't feel. No, you said it feels like a show that should have stood on its own, shouldn't have been connected to Doctor Who, but they forced Doctor Who into it. And now I can see what you mean, basically.
Yeah, if it was a standalone thing, it would have had more merit, to be its own science fiction show. But because it's kind of shoehorned into the Doctor Who universe, which we're all aware of, and we all know it is, but we've had one reference to, we've had one big reference to Doctor Who, which is the cameo from Capaldi.
Yeah.
And then other than that, we have had like the odd mention of little things, and we've seen Clara's name on the board at the school, and little things like that. But the actual, like you say, the actual tone, and it's really difficult to say because I think they want to distance themselves a little bit from the main show because of the adult themes and so on. But even so, it just doesn't feel connected enough.
It doesn't.
If you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel. It absolutely feels like its own show. But it just happens to be in the, so.
Because even Coal Hill School doesn't feel like Coal Hill School. I mean, I know it's supposed to be the academy or whatever, but even that just feels totally different. It's almost as if they wanted the Doctor Who audience because they want those people watching, but actually they don't. It's not really a Doctor Who show somehow. Yeah,
so it is a shame, and I'm just really hoping that we do get that one episode. Because how many we've got left now? Just three more.
3.
So I'm hoping that in those last 3 we get that one where it's just like, yes, this is what class should be.
I've been waiting for.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know.
Because I'm just wondering. I'm hoping that they did do a premiere yesterday. Well, actually, when this podcast goes out, I don't know, a couple of days ago, for episode 6, which I thought was bizarre because they've only just had a premiere for couple of episodes, but they've just done one in Wales for episode 6.
Oh yeah,
which seems really strange because you'd have thought they'd have done maybe the last episode or whatever. So that might. I'm thinking, why does episode 6 need a premiere? Perhaps it's really good. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, don't know. So what's the name of the next episode? Is it What's the title of the upcoming episode? It is,
I don't know. They're all in detention apparently.
Detained.
Detained,
yes.
Right?
So I don't know.
Don't read the synopsis. Whatever you do, otherwise you'll probably not end up watching it because on paper it sounds dreadful. But as I said, it got a premiere. Maybe it's going to be really good. I hope so. Because like you, I do want to like this program, and I just not doing so far.
Yeah, and like I said before, those of you that are enjoying Class, fair play. That's great. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, and we're not being negative or throwing this out there because for the sake of it. It genuinely is a case of we just want it to be good. Good,
And like, you wanted to fulfill the potential, like you said, and it has definitely got potential.
Yes. So if you were to give this a rating, what would you slam on this one?
Well, last week I gave 3 out of 10. I found this slightly more enjoyable, so I'll give it 4 out of 10.
I gave it a 4, so I'm going backwards, the opposite to you. I'm giving it a 3 this week.
A 3, yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, Bravish Heart, episode 5 of Class. Maybe episode 6. Maybe it will surprise us.
I genuinely hope so,
Yeah.
because I do sit down every Saturday, and even though I've not really thought much of the series so far, I do look forward to having something to watch on a Saturday because Doctor Who's not on. So I would like to think this week's will be better. Yeah.
Maybe this is a good sign to the BBC to get that Clive spin-off show rocking and rolling.
He's too busy though. He does. I keep meaning to tell you, he's doing a quiz in the afternoon. I sometimes switch on the TV, and he's on doing a quiz show. So he's doing all right. It's good to see he's still alive.
Good to see. Right, that's going to do for class.
Yeah.
Shall we rock on with our main review?
Yes.
What is it, buddy?
Let's do it. Let's jump on some dinosaurs and ride off into the sunset because it's dinosaurs on a spaceship.
This ship contains the most precious cargo.
The ship's coming through the atmosphere.
The creatures on board this ship are not objects to be sold or traded.
Who sent you?
That's my dad.
What's going on?
The ship's been boarded before.
You think I will punish those who get in my way?
I'm launching the missiles.
Sorry, what was your name again?
Whatever's down there is coming this way.
Queen Nefertiti of Egypt.
What is it?
Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I know that theme.
That theme, it was so prominent in the Matt Smith era.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
In 5/7 time signature, no less. Right, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship was released, or broadcast, should I say, on the 8th of September 2012.
Sure.
As part of Series 7, it was written by Chris Chibnall.
Chibbers, the new showrunner.
Yeah. It was directed by Sal Metzstein and was obviously overseen by the Mothball, with some good music in this one from Murray Gold.
Yeah.
Indeed. Right. So, story is thus: the Doctor is mucking about, trying to get away from a very forward Queen Nefertiti.
Yes.
At the beginning, and he whisks her away on an adventure, and then goes to the campsite of what's his name, Riddle, the explorer hunter guy, whisks him away too, and then goes to see Rory and Amy. But what he doesn't know is that Rory's dad is in tow trying to fix a light bulb, and materializes around those guys, whisks them off as well. And lands on a huge Silurian spaceship, which is surprisingly very quiet. And they find out that the Silurians have been awoken and slaughtered by a very nasty man.
Very nasty.
Very nasty man. Played by the brilliant David Bradley. This guy Solomon has been waking up the Silurians, killing them off because he's after their cargo, i.e. the dinosaurs. He's a sort of what does he call, like a black market
trader sort of thing.
Yeah, so he wants to nab these dinosaurs to sell them at a very high price. So it's up to those guys, all of those guys, including Rory's dad, to put a stop to his evil ways. At the same time, the Doctor trying to convince the I'm not going to say units, or am I?
No, it's the Indian Space Agency.
That's correct, yes. From sending a bunch of missiles up to the Silurian spaceship to blast it into nothingness, which they do actually do, but the Doctor very surprisingly, is the right word? Surprisingly,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sends those rockets off to Solomon's ship and blows him to nothingness. And then he returns everyone back, and he's feeling sad.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we do get him looking. There's something going on with Amy and Rory, isn't there?
Yeah,
he's sort of in the middle of them.
So that's that. Dinos on a spaceship. What do you reckon this one, mate?
It's all right. Yeah, it's there's a lot of fun in it. There's some good humour in it, but it doesn't. I don't know. There's a lot going on, but yet it still struggles to hold my attention, if you like. So
okay,
there's plenty of stuff happening. But yeah, I did find myself a bit bored. But no, it's okay. It's as I said, there's a lot of fun in there. Some nice stuff going on with Matt's doctor in terms of the humour and stuff. So it's definitely watchable. It feels almost like it could have been a Christmas special in terms of it feels quite grand and as I said, very, very light-hearted. I think there's an awful lot of humour in here. So it does feel like one of the lighter episodes, if you like. I could sort of imagine it being on at Christmas somehow, if you just added in a bit of snow.
Yeah, it does have that sort of Christmas afternoon big family adventure romp kind of feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a bit a romp. It's a fun romp.
It's a fun romp, yeah.
But I do think, it's overall it's okay. I think there's a few bits in it that don't really work. But yeah, overall it's all right.
Yeah. I thought it was better than what I remembered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was one of those episodes that when I first watched it, I did think, I'll file that one away, and maybe watch it, maybe, at a push at some point if I'm ever at a loose end to watch a Matt Smith episode. And then when I stuck it on, I thought, I don't remember it being this much fun.
It is fun, yeah. That's
the main thing I forgot. For some reason, I thought it was quite a serious... I remember the opening scenes with Nefertiti chasing the doctor and so on being quite funny and that stuff. And the bit where Rory's dad's changing the light bulb and, him and Rory and Amy are sort of having a laugh and a joke. I remember those opening things being quite funny. But after that, I thought it was quite a serious thing after that because of the whole Solomon thing and all that. But it has actually got, quite a lot of humour throughout and it is quite funny. It just, just moves along at a very nice pace. I can't really remember much of sort of slow down and just, sort of moves along quite nice. It's quite action paced in some places. Yeah, and I think they did try to do something a little bit different because, the two service robots that Solomon has. I completely forgot about their voices,
Yeah, me too. It's Mitchell and Webb, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I still can't decide if I like that or not. It's different, it's a bit quirky, but at least they tried to be different. It could have just been a very typical science fiction-y robot mechanoid voice. So yeah. Overall, it's better than what I remember it being. I've only seen it once before, so and that was a while ago. But it's definitely more fun and a better watch than I remember.
I'm not sure about the robots. I'm a bit like you. I can't decide because I like Mitchell and Webb in their comedy sketch shows that they used to do and stuff. And but I don't know. Again, I think maybe, like I said before, if they were in a Christmas special, I think they'd be sort of quite funny. But in this, they feel a little bit out of place to me somehow.
Right.
But I don't think they're bad. I just find them a little bit. I'm glad they're not in it more than they are. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because they're not in it very much. So yeah, I think they're okay.
Absolutely. I would imagine if they were in it more than that, it would have been annoying.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten annoying quickly.
Yes, rather than potentially funny. It would have stepped over that line, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they're quite sarcastic and silly, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right, story then. Direction, that kind of thing. As a whole, it's quite an adventurous story, I would say.
Chibbers throws a lot in there, doesn't he?
He does,
I mean, he does seem to keep changing, changing things up, like when they appear on the beach. I mean, that really took me by surprise first time I watched it. I was like, what the hell's going on? The teleportation. So he does sort of throw a lot of stuff in there to try and keep the story interesting, I think. Yeah.
And it is, one thing that came to my mind after I watched this actually was when I was reading the book, the Russell T Davies book.
Oh, Writer's Tale?
A Writer's Tale, yeah. There was a couple of times there where you see Russell sort of churning out the story in his head. And then he says, right, I'm going to change that bit of the story because I know even before we have any meetings about it, I know that that's going to be too expensive to do. And I know that because of time constraints, we're not going to be able to do this scene, so I'll take it out. I just can't imagine Chris Chibnall doing that on this because, he just, like you said, he just throws everything in there. We've got exterior shots around Amy and Rory's house. We've got the sets inside their house. We've got the TARDIS materialising. We've got the TARDIS sets. We've got the spaceship sets. We've got them out on location on the beach, in caves. And then we've got all the special effects as well, all the space scenes, the ships, the robots. They had to be
dinosaurs.
built. The CG dinosaurs, which they probably had help from the very famous programme Walking with Dinosaurs. That was a BBC thing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They had that. And then like the physical robots, they had to be built and done. And I can imagine that this one would have been a real, dig deep in the old wallets.
It does look pretty good, I have to say. I mean, how old is it now? When did this go out? 2012.
Is it 5 years old? 4 years old?
5 years old. 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, it still looks pretty good. One of the dinosaurs they actually built, didn't they?
Triceratops.
The one that gets
killed
at the end. They've done a great job with that. He does look really good as an animatronic dinosaur. He looks really cool.
Yeah.
And it is quite sad when he gets shot at the end.
It's very sad.
I thought. I love, because that's what I like about Matt. I think that's where Matt switches from. Because Matt's very jokey and lighthearted pretty much all the way through this.
Yeah.
And then he does turn quite dark right at the end, and I think that's when he turns. So that's quite good in a way.
It is, yeah.
We'll get on to what happens to Solomon later, to see what you think about that, because it is a bit out of place for Matt's Doctor, but yeah.
Yeah. I do quite like the overall story behind this. So when Amy's digging around in the computer and she's looking through everything, how she knows how to work an alien computer is beyond me, but she's digging around and stuff, and she figures out that this whole ship is actually an ark, isn't it? And the Silurians were basically taking all of these creatures onto the Ark because of the meteorite that's going to slam into Earth and kill, dinosaurs and so on. So they've taken them all off on the Ark to save them. And I thought that was a really nice idea, because you don't get that until halfway through the story, really.
Yeah.
So you're still trying to figure out, why are there dinosaurs? Because if we think about the title, it is a bit crazy. And we almost say it with Matt Smith when he's saying
it's
it.
It's very cheesy, isn't it? When he says it, it's like, oh, he's just said the title.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, he says it with such joy and childhood adventure. You do kind of find yourself sort of in your head shouting it with him. Because it's it is a cool title. Come on. It's a thing that a lot of people are fans of, dinosaurs and spaceships. And when so that's got that cool, just really adventurous, fun title.
Yeah. I must admit, I do like that bit of the storyline. I agree with you, because I'd forgotten that the Silurians were even part of it, to be honest. Because it is quite a long time since I watched it. So that was quite a nice little surprise. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea as well, because I think, are they saving them because they're reptilian or something? I'm not quite sure. But it is quite a nice idea of them going around saving these, species, and then this callous, horrible man trying to take advantage of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's quite a good concept, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And yes, I mean, the story, that's sort of the central bit of the story, isn't it? And these dinosaurs are sort of roaming around because they've been saved. And they're obviously breeding and all that stuff, because on their ship they've got these huge sections, haven't they? So the bit where the Doctor, Rory, and his dad get teleported onto the beach, that's like a whole section of the ship for those dinosaurs, isn't it? So the pterodactyls, they can fly around and all that stuff. So it's really, really good. It's a great idea from old Chibbers.
And he hasn't made life easy for himself either, has he, Chibbers? Because he's brought in all these new characters that he's got to try and find stuff for them to do. So I always find that quite a strange and brave decision, because he's decided that the Doctor wants to get a gang. And I love the way Matt just acts. It's like, I've decided I'm going to get myself a gang. So he's got to bring in all these new characters, like the Hunter and Nefertiti and all that, and he's got to find stuff for them to do. And I just thought, why would you put yourself under that pressure? You've got Amy and Rory and Rory's dad as well, so you've got all these characters in it, and it does work. Although they don't do an awful lot, they do play their own part in the story, I thought. So yeah, in that sense, it is good, I think.
Yeah, and I wasn't too sure on, because I thought it was quite funny with Nefertiti chasing him around. Because you know the story picks up, it's in ancient Egypt, isn't it? So he's obviously there. We don't know why he's there, but he's getting chased around by Nefertiti, and she's really after him. You know, she wants a slice of
the doctor.
Of the doctor, yeah. But, so that part I could get, because everybody, well, I assume everybody knows who Queen Nefertiti is, or at least heard of her.
Yeah,
but I'd never heard of John Riddle before.
No, nor would I, actually. To be honest with you, no. And
I don't know if that's a shameful thing, and I should have heard of him. I'm not sure, but he was, yeah. I can't really say whether that's a good idea or not, because I've never heard of him. But he didn't really do a great deal. There's quite a few flirtatious moments that he has with Nefertiti after they've yelled at each other for a bit.
Yeah.
So
it's this won't mean anything to you because you don't watch Sherlock. But as soon as I saw him again, I'd forgotten the actor was in it, Rupert Graves. Yeah. But I was just like, so let's trade from Sherlock. But of course you won't know that because you don't like Sherlock. But he's quite good. I quite like him.
It isn't. I don't like Sherlock.
You just haven't watched it.
I've just been too lazy to start watching it.
Yeah.
So I can't say yes or no.
Yeah.
I will do one day.
Yeah. Well, he's in it sometimes.
A bit like Blake Seven. I will watch it one day.
One day, yeah. Put it on the list.
Yeah. So, yeah, fairly good story. Very interesting story. And it's pretty well realised on screen, I would say. The dinosaurs look fantastic. The location shot when they're out on that looks like a horrible day.
It really does, yeah.
You know, really.
Is that Bad Wolf Bay? It looks a little bit like Bad Wolf Bay to me.
No? Yeah, so it's raining really hard. It's windy. It looks terribly cold.
Mm-hmm.
And but they deal with it. They're getting paid enough to deal with it.
And the spaceship looks good as well. Like the CGI and stuff it's quite an unusual design for a ship, isn't it? I quite like it. It's like this sort of, I don't know, what would you call it? It's like a I don't know. It's just unusual. It's different.
Yes.
Yeah. Good different though.
Yes. I must apologise, mate. The beach scene, it was used as Bad Wolf Bay.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Doomsday and Journey's End, yes.
Yeah, I thought it looked like it, but, beaches, they all look the same.
Like quarries, they all look the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and what was I saying about the... being realised on screen. The dinosaurs look great. Locations are good. And I felt like it was going to be a real... As I sort of got part way into it and the Doctor finally lands on the spaceship, at that point I thought, oh crikey, it's just going to be corridors and quite contained. But I was glad that it wasn't, that we do get those extra bits where they're teleported out here and we go on to Solomon's ship, and so I was quite happy with that, because that could have been an easy way out in terms of budget and time. So I've just reuse a bunch of corridors, and existing sets and so on. I mean, there's a little bit of that in it, but yeah, I thought it looked very nice. And there's one scene which just looks absolutely beautiful in this episode, and it's the bit near the end where Rory's dad is sitting with his legs dangling outside the TARDIS, eating a sandwich with a flask. Yeah, and he's looking out into space, and he can see the Earth at night and so on. That just looks so good. It
did. Yeah, I made a note of that. It's a beautiful scene. Really, really lovely. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean about them, taking the easy route as well. That's one thing I will give Chibbers credit for. I mean, it could have, like you said, it could have been a story of them just constantly running from dinosaurs that are loose on this spaceship, couldn't it?
Yes.
And thankfully they don't go down that route. The dinosaurs actually aren't in it as much as you'd think, really. They're an underlying threat. Like, I mean, they've given Solomon a bit of a chewing, so
the raptors.
rightly so. And there is a bit towards the end where they're fighting with Amy and Riddle, and they sort of stun all the dinosaurs. So that they're there. There's a definite threat from there, but they didn't go down that sort of easy route of having 10-20 minutes of them just constantly running down corridors trying to get away from them, Jurassic Park style, which they could have done, to be fair. So hats off to Chibbers for trying to throw all these other elements into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that sort of bodes well for his upcoming role as showrunner.
It does, but there are some concerns I've got about him as well, because positives, I thought...
Here we go.
Well, I thought he wrote the Doctor really well. I mean, the lines that he gives Matt are just really... They are genuinely funny, and Matt just grabs them by the horns and runs with it. I mean, he writes Matt's Doctor really well in this, I thought, and Matt performs it really well. But I did think there was three... one particularly bad one, but two that were a bit borderline was with the jokes. There's the joke about, I would not saying inappropriate, but there's a bit about where they talk about Rory's dad's balls, and then there's a bit where Riddle says something about I've got a big weapon, and it all feels a little bit carry on. But the bit that I really don't like, there's a line where Solomon says he's going to look forward to breaking in what's her name? Nefertiti,
yeah,
which is just horrible. And it just, I don't know, there's just a couple of lines in there that I find a little bit inappropriate, particularly the line about Nefertiti. Just, I know Solomon's a horrible man, we get that, he's just a nasty piece of work, but yeah, I just thought, do those lines need to be in there? I think the rule is down to bit, I think works, but I'm not sure about the big weapon and the breaking in bit. I thought they just seemed a bit inappropriate, really. So
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm still think Chibbers is going to be a very interesting showrunner. I think he's got a lot of ideas going on in there. This story does get quite a pummeling from a lot of fans as well. It's not one that's considered to be particularly good, is it? So again, I think, like you said, it was better than you remembered. Yeah, so I'd probably say it was. Or I would probably say it's not as bad as I remembered. So, because I remembered it not being particularly good, whereas I quite enjoyed watching it. So,
yeah, it was an interesting time as well in this season because oh my god,
season.
Hold on, I know what I can use this for.
What?
The swear jar, the swear pot. Every time season's mentioned,
I
have to put £1 in there later. Right, that's sorted.
That'll soon fill up.
So, Series 7. They kind of messed with the whole marketing side of it as well, didn't they? Because they did all the the film style posters, and this one's dreadful. The poster for this one, it looks like a very I'm assuming, rightly or wrongly, that this was a Photoshop job, and it looks it just looks awful.
There's a lot going on in it. I'm looking at it now online. So you got Matt on top of the dinosaur. You got a pterodactyl.
A pterodactyl.
What's that? No, that's what am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the visitor.
Yes, I am, aren't I? Now they would have been great in it.
That would have been an interesting story.
That would have been fun.
Sure.
So you got a lot going on in that poster, but none of it working, bizarrely.
And also they mess with the logo in the opening sequence, didn't they? So this one had the texture of the dinosaur skin.
That's right.
On the wording of Doctor Who, didn't it? Because another one that they changed the texture or the effect of the logo based on the episode, didn't they?
Have they changed the vortex as well? Because I absolutely promise you I'm telling the truth. I thought my TV had gone funny because it looks a really strange green and yellowy colour, and I do not remember that. I honestly thought there was something wrong with the picture. I was thinking, have I blimmin' sat on the remote again and turned the brightness up or something? It looks really weird, the opening credits. But to me, I just don't remember them looking like that at all. And they seem to have loads of cracking lightning sound effects over it, drowning out the music as well, which I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe.
It's horrible, the intro to this. I'm assuming the rest of Series 7's the same. I don't know. So long since I watched it.
Yeah. The Beeb there.
Yeah.
And
then you're right. Every time the Doctor Who logo comes up, it sort of fits in with the story, doesn't it? So I think in the Dalek one, it was all stone or something. I can't remember now. This one, it's like a dinosaur
skin,
leathery look. Yeah.
Quite interesting though, because I'd forgotten about that. Again, something else that I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
you won't be surprised to hear. So let's talk about some characters. Right, so the robots then, quite funny in places. But like you say, they sort of pushed it up to that point, really. Whereas if they were in it anymore, it would have got slightly annoying. I'm assuming they were going after the comic relief, like the R2-D2, C-3PO kind of thing. It was almost that part of it felt quite Disney-esque to me, having like two sort of smaller sidekick characters to bring the funny, if you like. And
there's already a lot of humour in the episode. I think maybe they're just one bit of humour too much, if you know what I mean. It's like there's already quite a lot of comedy going on in it. Mm-hmm. It's already a big romp, and then we get these silly robots. I don't know if it's just one bit too far or something. I don't know. Yeah. But like you said, they're not in it that much, but they would have got annoying quickly. Yeah,
I've got no serious complaint about them. But one thing that doesn't compute with me is Solomon doesn't seem like the kind of character that would have robots like that alongside him.
Yeah, that's true.
With those comedy voices and stuff, he seems like a very stern, quite grumpy.
He's not a laugh a minute, is he?
Not at all. So it is quite strange that he would have two service robots in that style. So maybe, like I said, I've got no serious complaint. I thought they were quite humorous at times, not overly funny, but humorous. But yeah, right. Let's talk about Rory's dad.
Yeah, let's talk about Rory's dad.
Mark Williams.
Mark Williams, that's it. Yeah.
Great actor, Mark Williams.
Lovely character.
Very good character indeed.
That scene at the start where the Doctor whisks them or materializes around them and then takes them all with him by mistake and then has a go at him for being in the TARDIS and then welcomes him aboard within a flash is brilliant.
Lovely writing,
I love that scene. Yeah. That's just so good. He's like, what are you doing here? How dare you sneak aboard? And he's like, well, you materialized around us. Oh, so I did. Welcome aboard, Brian. Absolutely lovely scene between the two of them. And he's just a great character, isn't he? I believe him as Rory's dad as well. I can so see the two of them as, father and son. So really good casting. Yeah.
Really good casting. Yeah. That's what I thought when I first saw him, that first interaction with him and the Doctor. And I thought exactly the same thing. I thought that is great casting.
Yeah.
And he has some really nice little moments as well, doesn't he? There's a bit where Rory heals him after he's shot by the robot. And
that's right. Yeah, he's got the medical kit.
Yeah, because we have this very, very quick and very light little father-son bit where earlier on in the episode you can see that he looks at Rory as not a disappointing son at all, but he looks at him as if to say, you're not like me. You're not like a hands-on, can fix a light bulb, can do that stuff. He doesn't really see him as that kind of a man,
Yeah.
And then later on where it's in the episode, he's like at the beach, the Doctor tells him to start digging and he digs into the sand and he finds the metal floor. And Rory's really surprised. He's like, you carry a trowel around with you. And he's like, what man doesn't? And you kind of get this feeling that Rory's dad looks at him as like, it's hard to put into words. He doesn't look at him as a disappointment or an incapable person, but he's very different to him.
Yeah.
And then later on when he gets shot, he says to him, you carry that around with you. And it's like a nice little turnaround where it's like, I always carry a medical pack, and heals him. And then there's that little look and that little glance between them as if to say, fair enough. I carry tools, a sort of man's man thing. You carry that, we're even sort of thing.
Yeah, because I forgot that Rory's supposed to be a sort of nurse or whatever he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Because I did think at one point, why would he? Oh, of course, Rory's a nurse.
He's a nurse, yeah. So again, really nice little bits there. Almost reminded me of Russell T Davies. That's those nice little scenes where you have really nice little character pieces.
Yeah.
And they're the little scenes, that I don't think the Moff is particularly good at writing.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Because the dialogue in a lot of the Moffat episodes is quite wooden at times, especially between Clara and Danny and all that sort of thing. But I get the feeling that Chibnall is more like we saw with Russell T Davies.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot more emotionally led, sensible dialogue, makes sense, and is quite emotional at times, quite fitting. So, yeah, Rory's dad, really good character. Excellent,
yeah, and he's played really well, isn't he, by Mark Williams. It's just, fantastic. It's great to have him involved in the story the way he is as well. And I like the fact that he's not just tagged along to run around and say the odd funny line, because he does play an important part, doesn't he, at the end, where they have to. Because at first I thought, because it needs to be two people of the same gene pool to control the ship or something, doesn't it?
Yes.
And at first I thought, oh, well, that's convenient, isn't it? But then I thought about it. I thought, well, no, it makes sense because it's a Silurian ship. So that does actually work, yeah. So that, again, is a nice bit of story, story writing.
And he's having the time of his life at the end, isn't he? He's off travelling with a doctor. And
that end scene is just stunning. I mean, it's just such a nice little scene of him dangling out the TARDIS doors, looking at the Earth. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's also another nice little turnaround, because earlier on in the episode, Rory says that his dad doesn't travel very well.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then at the end, he's all over the place. He's sending them postcards from all,
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I noticed it's the 10th Doctor's TARDIS. I don't, on the postcard, they've used
I did not notice that.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't know, it's probably just an error. Probably just a mistake. But it's, it's a very, I think it might even be the 9th Doctor's TARDIS. It's, when you see the picture, it's like, it's one that you see a lot that they've just sort of cropped into the photo.
Right.
But it hasn't got the St. John's ambulance and it's a different blue. So I don't know, probably just a little production error.
Good spot, mate.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Mm. Yeah. But it is a lovely scene, isn't it? Just seeing him travel. I hadn't really picked up on the fact that Roy said that he's not a good traveller, but that is nice, actually. Yeah.
Another nice little Chibnall thing.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about Rupert Graves then as Riddle.
Yeah, it doesn't get a lot to do, but I do like the actor. I think he's quite good in the performance. He's a bit sort of full of himself, isn't he, in terms of the character? But I thought he was quite good in it, actually, with what he's given.
Yeah, I sort of felt sorry for him, really. Not as the character, but as the actor, because not a lot of people know who, not a lot of people know who John Riddle is.
Yeah,
for a start, and secondly, doesn't, like you say, doesn't get a great deal to do. No, not really. Out of the main cast, he has the least to do, I would say. However, Rupert Graves plays him very well.
He puts in he give gusto performance, doesn't he?
And I like that fun little scene when him and Nefertiti are sort of having a fight while Amy's trying to get information out of the computer, and then they start. You see that sort of look in their eye, like, "Oh, hello." While I've been shouting at you, I've not realised, how nice you are. Yeah, which is great to see. But yes, just didn't have a great deal to do. No, that's right. He does a bit of dinosaur fighting at the end with Amy, and that's it really. Yeah, but he's good though. He is good. One scene that I did really like was at the very beginning where Matt Smith turns up and he's on the African plains with his campfire. Yeah, and the Doctor says, "Come on, I've got another adventure," and he's kind of, "Well, yeah, I believe after last time," and we don't know what happened last time. So they're obviously good buddies. They've obviously done stuff before, but he's obviously let him down a bit. So he's like, "Yeah, after last time," and the Doctor just gives him this look, this little grin, as if to say, "I'll give it a few seconds, and he's going to bite." And then you can see him, and he's like, "What is it?" That was a great little moment. Nice moment, yeah. Queen Nefertiti. Yeah. Rhiannon Steele. She's all right. She has slightly more to do than the Riddle character. I mean, she does kind of sacrifice herself a little bit towards the end, because when Solomon kills the Triceratops, she then puts herself forward. Yeah. So quite brave character, quite good. I'm a bit indifferent, to be honest with you. Yeah, same. I didn't dislike her. I didn't think, wow, I want to see more of her. I was just sort of middle of the road. Yeah, exactly. I think she just fitted the role, and that was it, really. Yeah, she doesn't stand out in it in any way. Yeah, there isn't much more to say. I mean, she does end up with Riddle at the end. Yeah, that's right. She comes out of the tent, doesn't she? With a big elephant gun. Yeah. So the Doctor's left them there for some reason. He obviously hasn't returned her back to her time in Egypt. Mm-hmm. He's sort of left her there, I assume at her own request. Yeah. But yeah, that was interesting, because you think, surely that has changed the course of history.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah,
You know,
I didn't know quite what's going on there, but
the Doctor's very keen on not messing with fixed time points, and I assume, rightly or wrongly, that Queen Nefertiti in ancient Egypt has quite a pivotal role in the progression of that civilization. So to take her out of it, I don't know, maybe that's reading too much into it, I suppose, not sort of going along with the story, but
perhaps it's because she was coming on to Matt's Doctor so much that he just wanted to get rid of her. Yeah, it's like, yeah, Riddle, you have her.
Yeah, true.
He doesn't seem as keen as her, does he?
No. Right, Solomon, David Bradley.
David Bradley, fantastic actor.
He's great.
Really good. He's really good at playing nasty villains. But yeah, he's great. I mean, the character is totally unlikable. He's just a really nasty piece of work. Solomon, isn't he?
Yes.
And I think David Bradley plays that brilliantly. Yeah. I mean, when you were watching it, were you thinking, "Oh, that's the first Doctor from Adventure in Time and Space"? Because I was thinking it's a good testament to him that he can play such a contrast in characters, because he's so likable as, William Hartnell in Adventure in Space and Time. But he's brilliant at playing this horrible character as well. I thought I really did. He really does come across as a nasty piece of work. Yeah,
he did, and he sold it to me
totally
as that real unlikable, just a bit of a B word, really, in all sense of the word. It's
yeah,
he really sold it, and I did think immediately. I thought, oh, that's the first Doctor, because an adventure in time and space is a really you have to have the tissues at the ready.
Yeah,
for that one, the last 20 minutes of that, what would you say? What would you label it as? Like a docudrama.
Yeah, docudrama.
Yeah. It's so sad and emotional. I cry like an idiot every time I watch it at the end. And
I feel like watching it actually after this.
Yes, and that emotion just came to me as I saw him in the episode. I was like, nah, this is the first Doctor. And that thought lasted only a few seconds, because you immediately think, oh no.
No, it's definitely not.
It's definitely not the first Doctor, but he's such a great actor. And let's talk about that scene at the end then, where the Doctor sends him to his doom with the missiles.
Yeah.
Do we think that's, I mean, don't get me wrong, from an audience perspective, it's a kind of a take that, a cheer moment where, this really nasty, horrible character has met his demise.
Yeah, he's got his just desserts, yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there is that moral, not dilemma, but there's that moral question with the Doctor, isn't it? Because he's not supposed to, take lives. And all that's, does it fit with the Doctor as a character? Because he doesn't have any remorse at all, does he?
No, not really, no. I think, you could see Capaldi's Doctor doing that in a heartbeat. It's just because Matt's Doctor doesn't...
Depending on who's writing the episode that week.
Well, that's true.
But in a way, yeah.
Yeah, but because it's Matt's Doctor. And also, I think because he's so comically written for the 90% of this episode, I think it makes it even more harsh when he does that, because it's, he's not like being the dark burdened 11th Doctor at this point. He's really comical throughout the whole episode. So it is quite shocking, I think, when he, let Solomon blow up, when he could have saved it. But then, I don't know. I suppose Solomon is so unlikable that I just sit there thinking, he deserved it. But yeah, is it for the Doctor to be judge and executioner? He's always saying it's not. So there is that moral standpoint. I don't know.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? And the Doctor kind of deals with it when Brian gets shot. He's still dealing with it then, and he's still you get the feeling that he's got maybe a plan in his head on how to deal with Solomon. But it's not until the Triceratops gets killed in front of them all. That's when he snaps, isn't it? The Doctor, he's sort of, that comical sense has left him then.
I'm just wondering what could he have done with a character like Solomon, though? Like Solomon, when he shoots the dinosaur and he's threatening Nefertiti and all that, at that point there, you can just tell that Solomon has absolutely no morals at all. He's not, this is one leopard that's never going to change its spots. So what? I don't know. What could the Doctor have done with him?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Well, to play devil's advocate, let's look at the Master.
Mm.
He's someone that's never going to change his or her spots. But yet the Doctor's always offered his hand to save him and help him. At every single turn.
But Solomon hasn't got a shred of decency in him. And the Master has a little shred of decency.
Yeah,
and he's one of the Doctor's own kind.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just sort of thinking, how else could the 11th Doctor have dealt with it? I don't know.
Maybe he could have disabled his directional thing and just sent him off into space, and whoever finds him deals with it. I don't know.
Yeah, from a story point of view, though, it is quite satisfying to see Solomon getting his comeuppance, because he has asked for it big time.
He has, yeah.
Yeah,
and it is very sad when the Triceratops gets killed.
It's quite a nasty little moment, actually, in what's been quite a light episode. It's quite horrible, actually, seeing the poor old thing get shot so callously as well. But that is one thing I like about Matt. And like you said, there is no remorse or anything from him as the Doctor. I think he just has, at that point, he's just decided, you know what? You've burnt up your last chance. And that's the end of it, sort of thing. So I quite like the fact we get to see that side of the Doctor. I sometimes think it's the side that is always there, but we rarely get to see as the viewer. Yeah. I always think the Doctor must have this side where he just thinks, shouldn't really be doing this, but you know what? You've asked for it. So, when the camera's turned, we don't get to see it, but in this instance, we did.
You've brought down the thunder.
Yeah.
Now get ready for the boom.
Yeah. Like that.
You're going to mess with the horns, Sonny. You mess with the ball, you're going to get the horns. Maybe he thinks that.
Yeah.
You've pushed. No, you're going to get it. And it is satisfying. I do like it.
Yeah.
I
it's
like
just not
it
something we see that often.
I like it more than I dislike it. It's good.
Yep.
Amy and Rory.
I like Rory. I like Rory's character. Amy, I can find a bit annoying at times, but she's all right in this, I think. She didn't annoy me at all, actually, in this episode, because she is still quite cocky, but she's quite fun as well. Like the scene you were on about earlier with the computer, where she's just rolling her eyes at the Nefertiti and all that. And when she says about being a queen, she sort of says, yes, I am a queen, actually. So I quite liked Amy in this. I thought she was quite good fun. She doesn't get an awful lot to do, but she's not annoying in it. So just for that, I thought she was quite good. And Rory's just great. I love Rory's character. I think he's fun. He's brilliant when he's with his dad. The two of them are just great together. And also there's some good scenes between Rory and the Doctor as well. Some good comedy scenes. So, both of them decent in this, I thought.
I thought they were both pretty good. I really liked Rory and the scenes with his dad. And also the scenes where he's yelling at the Doctor as well, because twice the Doctor says about, showing up. And he's like, you materialised around. The Doctor's just not getting it.
Yeah.
So they were quite funny and Rory's quite good. But I did feel like Karen Gillan was a bit reserved in this one.
A little bit.
Maybe not, to the point where it had a bad effect on the character or the performance or anything, but she wasn't her overly cocky self, She was quite, just very slightly pulled back a bit.
Which I liked, because she can get a bit mouthy sometimes.
Yeah. There was a couple of moments where I thought she was going to go, where Nefertiti's quizzing her about, are you a queen, where you come from? And I thought she was going to go then. When she was quizzing her about that and her relationship with the Doctor. But she didn't. She was still just there, but not being typical Amy from maybe the previous
Series 5. Yeah.
So they had a decent part, but just not. It's probably quite difficult as well, because there's another 3 characters to have to contend with. They probably had to have that balance of, yes, Amy and Rory are the main companions to the Doctor, if you like. But these other people are also along, as the gang. So they need some screen time as well. So it was quite well balanced, I would say.
It is really, because it's a very crowded TARDIS.
It is, yeah. It's almost like The Davison years all over again.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Right, and then Matt Smith as the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Just fantastic, as always.
Yes, he's really good in it. Yeah, he gets some lovely lines and delivers them great, and he's fun, and he does the dark well, and yeah, he's just great. I love Matt's Doctor. Really do love Matt's Doctor. Yeah, he's the Doctor that I'd like to spend time with. I think if you went travelling, he's just so off the wall. He's almost like a hyped up Troughton, isn't he? You know, he's sort of just a clown-like but clever, and also quite dark, and you know, on the ball but also crazy and bouncing off the walls, and yeah, he's fantastic. Really like him in this. He's written well. I'll give Chibbers that. That's one thing that's promising about Chibbers' reign in 2018. Looking at this, he does write the Doctor as quite a fun character, definitely a likable character. Yeah.
Yes, and a good reverse as well for the character. So for the majority of the episode, like we said, very comical and funny. Yep. But then at the end, there's that switch, and we see the darker side of the Doctor's character. So that is filling me with some confidence for his era of Doctor Who coming up in a year or so. So yeah, just nothing. Well, he's just great as always.
He is, yeah. I mean, I think there aren't many episodes that we've watched so far where Matt's not been on point. I think there was one recently. I forget which one it was now, where we said we didn't feel he was quite up to his usual standard, and I can't remember which one it was now. But generally, he's pretty good, isn't he? And he's definitely grabbing the dinosaur with both horns on this one, and running with it. You know,
I think that could have been the Rings of Akaten.
Was it? Yeah, I can't remember now.
Possibly.
One of the ones we reviewed recently, we were just like saying he just seemed a bit. I think it was that one actually. Just seemed a little bit, like he wasn't really into it somehow. But this one, he seems to be absolutely into it. He's definitely thrown himself into the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything you want to mention before scores?
No, mate, that's it. I think. Yeah. It was just a fun enough watch. Yeah.
Cool. Right, let's put some numbers down.
Mm-hmm. Whose turn is it?
It's your turn first.
Okay, I'm going with a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's decent. I don't think it's anything great, but it's a fun watch. So, yeah, 6.5.
6.5. I'm giving it a 7.
7.
Which I think is a reasonable score for this one. Around the 6. 6.5, 7. I think that sounds true.
I think you have to be in the right mood for it. I think if you're not anything too taxing on the brain, it's just one to just bung on and just you can enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. What did our lovely lot think? Let's do an audio clip first. This is Owen Daly.
Adam, hope you're both well and enjoying the show this week. And dinosaurs on the spaceship. Oh God, I love this story. I know a lot of people will beg to differ, but this one for me is perfect. I love it. It's one that I'll just turn on if it's a rainy day, if I'm bored. It's just such a good romp. Like, you got dinosaurs on a spaceship with Brian Williams. What can you not love about this? Chris Chibnall, I think, is a great choice as a head writer, because I have heard he's meant to be great on Broadchurch, but also he can bring back the whole family element to Doctor Who, because nowadays I think it's too dark, but this would be an ideal story because it kind of brings the whole family together. Plus, you got that man, you got Tracy, the Triceratops. I love that character. I really felt for her when she died, and I just love the story so much because it's so easy to watch. One of the highlights for this is, even though it's so cringy and awkward, when the Doctor asks Mark Williams, or Brian, if he has any food on him, he just goes, "Just my balls." I know I do cringe every time I hear that, because it's just so out of place in Doctor Who, but it's so humorous when he just whips out some golf balls, which is a scene I thoroughly love. So overall, Dinosaurs in the Spaceship, I will give a 7.5 out of 10. A really good story to watch, so easy, and I just love it to bits, and I love how the Doctor just forms a gang, and yeah. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you, Owen.
Excellent. Cheers, Owen.
7.5. Good score.
Yeah.
On Twitter, DW Productions says, decent enough one-off adventure, but quite forgettable looking back over the series.
Yeah.
Adam, the Ultimate Whovian, says, Series 7, it burns! ! Exclamation mark. And Neil, to his name, Brighter Moon with a Y, says, I've always enjoyed this one. It's a fun episode. Feels like a mash together of lots of adventure films. And Rory's dad is ace.
Yes, he is.
He is ace. Right, over on Facebook, Miles McKenzie says, episode feels like an episode just to put on and enjoy. Matt Smith portrays the Doctor perfectly in this one. Portrays the Doctor perfectly, and this is one of the very few episodes we see 11 with different emotions, e.g. sorrow, anger, etc. The dinosaur was a fun addition to the episode, but I felt really sorry when he was shot. Amy and Rory were okay in this, but I'd like to have seen them slowly get back together properly, like seen in the episode prior. So what was prior? Was that Asylum of the Daleks?
Yes, yeah.
Would have liked Solomon to have been the big villain for Series 7 instead of the Great Intelligence. That's interesting. He felt very underused and a bit poorly written here and there. He goes on to say he likes Amy and Nefertiti and Riddle's chemistry. And he feels that Riddle and Nefertiti should return for Moffat's last series to show that they are still in touch with the Doctor. Didn't really like the robots. Overall, it's a nice, fun episode. 5 out of 10.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yes. Let's do another audio clip. This is Joe Sweeney.
Hello again, Adam. Hope your boys are well. Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. It is, I think, it is one of the weaker stories out of Series 7. It's more of a filler because I think that dinosaurs and spaceship all being mashed together, it just didn't work for me. And the dinosaurs were slightly underused, and also within the storyline, it just failed. Matt Smith and Karen and Arthur's performance was quite good, and I like Brian. I think it's a funny moment when Brian got materialised inside the TARDIS when he was fixing Amy Rory's light bulb. I don't like the Solomon character, and I don't like those robots because I think they clunk around and they're just so very clumsy. Overall, okay episode, not the worst and certainly not the best. So give a score of a 4.5 out of 10. Hope your podcast, guys. Be soon. Take care. Bye bye for now.
You had to think about that at the end.
Cheers, Joe. Yes, he's got a point about.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got a point about.
Oh, the robots clunking around. They kind of remind me of that awful robot in Husbands of River Song.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just clunking around.
Yes. Back on Facebook, Charlie Turner says, so 42 is his best. When I think of Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who episodes so far, 42 is his best, but The Power of 3 is horrendous. As for dinosaurs and a spaceship, it's dull. Nowhere near as bad as The Power of 3, but it's still dull nonetheless. Love Amy Pond's outfit. David Bradley's okay as Solomon, but when I see him, he is either Mr. Filch from the Harry Potter films or William Hartnell. We think the same. Didn't like the title mention. No disrespect to Matt Smith. Mark Williams is fantastic as Brian Williams. Funny that they have the same surname. If I had to rate this one, I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Yeah. Because it is dull, but not nearly as bad as The Power of 3.
So we haven't reviewed Power of 3 yet, have we? So I'll keep quiet on that.
Yes. Kevin Mullen says, Dinosaurs and Spaceship is for the most of its running time fast-paced, funny and totally bonkers, with some excellent set pieces that are sure to delight children of every age and finally banish all the bad memories of Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Matt Smith is brilliant as the Doctor, giving a range of emotion. The plot was well written by Chris Chibnall and features some really disparate characters, from the wickedly sexy Nefertiti to the gung-ho big game hunter Riddle, to the downright venomous Solomon, played with relish by David Bradley. And finally, Mark Williams gives us a brilliant and charming performance as Brian, whose final scene, eating his sandwiches overlooking the earth, is beautiful and charming. I totally agree, Kevin.
Yes.
Only bit that sits uncomfortably is the Doctor's dispatching of Solomon. Effectively executing him for his crimes. That just doesn't seem right for Matt Smith's Doctor. He says, Series 7 is a bit of a strange one. There are some really not so very good stories, but as usual, Matt Smith saves them by his always innovative and brilliant performances. Overall, 7.5.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Matt, really.
Yeah.
He does work magic. David Bradley also is in Game of Thrones, isn't he? But I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I'm assuming he plays a bad guy in that. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he does play a bad guy. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I think he's in the earlier seasons, but I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah. Joseph Howarth says, not the most meaty of stories for the 11th Doctor. Yes, it's silly and corny on the surface, and some people on this podcast will not like this one, but believe it or not, I'm one of the people who really likes this story. I thought Mark Williams did a great job as Brian. I really love how the 11th Doctor is very dark and intimidating in this one, because it definitely shows off Matt Smith's acting range. It goes on to say, the only thing I complain about is the robots that Solomon has. They're annoying and cheap looking, and they look like they stepped off the set of the Sarah Jane Adventures, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Goes on to say, I'll be surprised if anyone considers this their least favourite story, or if they thought it was their favourite story of the 11th Doctor at all. Not much else to say. I can understand why people wouldn't like it, but I honestly don't think it's that bad. 7 out of 10.
Excellent.
Sammy Satine. So the Doctor has to stop the spaceship getting so close to the Earth, because otherwise they will send missiles to destroy it. He discovers it's a Silurian ship, minus the Silurians, as someone decided to murder them. The ship is filled with dinosaurs. I like Tricey, the Triceratops, who is adorable and is only interested in Brian's grass-covered golf balls. I love Brian. Mark Williams does a brilliant job. And he will always be Mr. Weasley first, Brian second.
Oh, yeah.
I wish Brian could have been in it more. Likes Nefertiti, strong woman. I don't like seeing her try and get on with 11, nor do I really approve of her relationship with the Game Hunter. She goes on to say, I think David Bradley does a reasonable job, though I have seen him in better parts. 8 out of 10.
Cheers, Sammy.
Lewis Palmer. He said, yeah, it's fine, just fine. It's underrated, I guess, because a lot of people seem to hate it. But Brian is marvellous. I'd happily watch a sitcom about his day-to-day life. Dinosaurs are pretty cool. The robots are pretty bad. I was playing Lego Dimensions the other day, and they appeared in that, and I turned it off.
Do they?
They really get on my nerves. Solomon's fate is extremely out of character for Matt Smith's Doctor. Comes out of nowhere and really doesn't feel like the same Doctor. Overall, it's harmless, but ultimately unremarkable story, which gets a 6 out of 10. Let's do our final audio clip. This is Loopy Loo.
Hey everybody! So this is a pretty terrible episode, but it's also kind of good fun. I think if you just go along with the silliness, you'll enjoy it. If you overthink it, you'll probably end up hating it. At one point, surely the gang in this episode is a bit too domestic for the Doctor? Anyway, I actually didn't think I was missing Rory till I watched this. Though I'm not a huge Pond fan, I forgot how much fun he is. I love that the Doctor has a Christmas list. I wonder what his wishes would be. David Bradley was great as always. I can't believe the Doctor actually killed him. It's a bit shocking in such a light-hearted episode. Anyway, terrible plot, some good dialogue, good cast. I give it a 5 out of 10.
5.
Cheers, Lou. She does make some very good points there.
Back on Facebook, Jeff Waddle says, I quite enjoy this, but that's more to do with enjoying very little else of season 7. Good enough self-contained story. Dinosaurs look good. Good acting, especially from the Hartnell cosplayer as the baddie. Matt quite dark in a way and lets his villain die. And who doesn't enjoy Brian? 7 out of 10 from Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jamie Ackley says, watching that again today has positively cheered me up. I had been approaching a rewatch of this story with massive trepidation. It was stuck in my head as lightweight, daft, misfire comedy, or the festive specials are otherwise known. I'm happily wrong. It had me smiling before the title started. Enjoyed the introduction of new allies. The Ponds themselves were rarely better than this episode. Their relationship wasn't on the rocks again, or one of them died again. Great to see Amy particularly showing her skills as she had learnt from the Doctor, take in charge and get everyone else to think logically. Writing was cracking, tipping through the entirety of the story at a great pace. Matt Smith nailed his performance. It was complex, manic, cheeky, dreamy and angry. And he is such a great performer. Goes on to say, however, on the whole, I thought it was a great romp and still explored morality. Doctor Who in a nutshell, really, 8 out of 10. Only because I always rate anything Doctor Who as 10 out of 10 and I need to be more critical.
Fair enough.
And largely George Coppen says, love it. Love Brian, definitely needs his own show. 8 out of 10.
Yes.
Did you have anything on the Geeks Handbag page?
Yeah, I had a couple. bizarrely, the first comment was from Lee Collins, who just simply says, I miss the Tennant and Smith years. So I'm assuming he gave it a rewatch. Jace Howes, a story with an interesting title which leads you to think it would be great. Like, for example, Invasion of Dinosaurs, which sounds a bit poor, but it's still a British story. Had a few good twists. Dinosaur Spaceship sounds interesting, sounds promising, but in reality, a very, very poor and stupid story. I only saw it once, which was enough. So, yeah, Jace, not a fan. Maybe give it another watch. Sometimes they're better than you remember. Patrick Sherwood says, I don't mind the story, it's okay, but not one of the best on the Matt Smith era. He's going to give it a solid 8 out of 10, he says. And Jack Lewis says, the worst Doctor Who episode of all, in giant capital letters, time. So, Jack, not a fan. Jack, have you seen In the Forest of the Night? Because I would beg to differ. Apart from my comments, mostly positive. When I say mine, I mean the Geeks Handbag comments. There's a bit of a mixed bag there. But most of the ones we received on the podcast were fairly positive, I would say, on this one. Which I find surprising, because when we put it on the list the other week, I thought this was going to get slated. And I certainly thought I was going to enjoy it less than I did.
Yes.
Because I think it just is one that gets remembered as being a bit rubbish. And it's definitely better than I thought.
I can completely agree. I remember this being not as enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's enjoyable, yeah.
Yes. So thank you very much, guys, for your thoughts and feelings and reviews and all that stuff on this episode. And some lovely thoughts, some lovely words from you guys about the podcast as well, in your reviews as well. So that's very nice. Next week, it's Classic Week.
Yeah.
And we're going back to the Fourth Doctor. So what we got next week, dude?
Yeah, a little Fourth Doctor oddity. Next week, it's the Sontaran Experiment.
Yeah, a cheeky little two-parter, which snuck into 1975.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, mate, this is another one of those classics I've only seen the once.
Yeah.
So, it'll be good to get back and watch. I haven't seen much of Tom in a while. I've been watching a lot of McCoy and some Davison and so on over the last couple of months. I've not stuck on any Tom for a while. So it'd be good to get back to the Fourth Doctor.
It will. I don't know when the DVD came out, but that's the last time I saw it. So we are talking a long time since I watched this one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Definitely. Hopefully it's good. I honestly can't remember it at all. Apart from, I just remember a big silver robot coming over the hill and looking a bit laughable. But that's it. I can't remember this one at all. So, yeah, looking forward to that next week.
Indeedy. And we're going to do there for 117. Thank you for sticking with us and listening to episode 117. Thank you again, guys, for sending in all your thoughts and feelings on our review episode this week, which was Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. And some reasonable scores there. 6.5 from Adam and a 7 from me. I've got some reasonably high scores from you guys as well. I was, like you, I was expecting 3s and 4s, and there were a couple, but mainly pretty good. So I would say it's another one of those episodes where if you haven't seen it in a while, don't let your memory of the episode stop you from watching it.
Yeah.
Because it might have changed. Like ours has. Yeah.
Yes.
Next week, going back to Classic Week, it's Fourth Doctor, the Sontaran Experiment. It's only a two-parter, so if you've got that one, stick it on and look out for the Facebook and Twitter posts to give us your thoughts and reviews on that. Head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.com. You can listen to all of the previous episodes on there, and you can also link off to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And there's also links there to subscribe to the show. So go off to iTunes and give us a subscribe there. And any iTunes listeners, if you could give us a review on iTunes, that would be fantastic. Because that really helps us out a lot. Also, check out Adam's channel, The Geeks Handbag.
Yeah.
Do a search for The Geek's Handbag on YouTube and Facebook. Some great stuff there. You brought out a raft of videos recently over the last week or so. I've seen at least 3 up there.
Yeah, I've been very busy little bee. Yeah,
busy little beaver.
Loads of event videos and vlogs and stuff I've got out lately. So yeah, go and check them out.
Honestly, go and check out Adam's channel. Some great videos there. If you've got sort of half an hour, 45 minutes to kill, just go and get lost in
get lost
in Adam's videos. Very good. Rightio. Until next week, listeners.
Yes.
My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,
let's get it in time.
Let's get it in time. Yeah. Remember.
3, 2, 1.